What if everything that we've built our social lives around is solving the wrong problem? Maybe people don't need another happy hour. Maybe they don't need another networking event. Maybe they don't even need another drink. Maybe what they're really looking for is the one place where they don't have to pretend. Today's conversation starts there. If you've stepped away from drinking or the things that used to numb you, you know it changes your life. But it changes the people watching you too. You become quiet proof that something better is possible. On Sober Life Rocks, we talk with people who realize that their choice wasn't just personal, it was a platform, a chance to be a leader, to shorten somebody else's learning curve, to do something that really mattered. If you felt that pull, you're in the right place. Subscribe and stay with us. Today, I'm talking with Michael Smith, better known as Multifaceted Monster. Multifaceted Monster is a recording artist, speaker, recovery advocate who's been sober since October 18th, 2023. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Through his music and speaking, he openly shares his recovery journey, not because he wants to be known for addiction, but because he wants people to know what's possible after it. When Michael and I were prepping for this conversation, one sentence really jumped out at me. He said, "We talk a lot about getting sober, but we don't talk enough about building a meaningful life afterwards." So today, that's where we're going. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, I kind of want to start with the fact that you're a musician. And every night, people gather around music. They sing together, they cry together, they celebrate together. Sometimes they hug complete strangers. So I want to ask you, what do you think people are actually looking for when they come to see music, to listen to music?
I feel like it's connection, being seen and being heard and being able to relate. Because there's often like the lyrics that you'll hear and you're like, yes, that is my life right now. You could listen to a song on repeat. But coming to see it live, I feel like it's a totally different thing because you get to connect with the person that wrote it and like, hey, I feel your presence, your vibe of your energy. And I feel like vice versa with people that come to see it. Like it gives the performer writer that same thing where it's like, yeah, like I wrote this on a piece of paper, recorded it, got it through these steps, and these people are coming out to come see me perform it. Like it's connection. I really truly believe.
Yeah, so much so. And as I was prepping for today, I was thinking about that and I was thinking, I wonder if people going to see live music are sometimes looking for the same things that they might go to alcohol or drugs for. Like we think of drinking together as connection or permission or relief or a place where you don't have to hold it all together. Like, what do you think about that?
Hmm. I feel like that definitely could be true too, or is true rather, because I know the performing aspect. I feel like that's probably the only time I could fully let loose is when I'm performing. Like you could be absolutely crazy on stage, and the crazier you are, people love it. You do that in the general public, there's a problem. There's a problem, and I think people come and dance, and just there's no judgment. They're just vibing to whatever the song is, or whatever the lyrics that they're connected to, and just it's like people that go clubbing and partying. They just want to dance and express, just express themselves and let loose. Kind of like forget about the problems for a while, forget about the seriousness of adulting.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what our whole like language is based off of, right? Like it's 5 o'clock somewhere, or, I've had a hell of a week. I need a drink.
Right.
That's what we're still seeking through that whole experience. So given now that you are sober, has sobriety changed the music that you create, or has it changed what you're trying to give people?
It definitely has changed. Well, it changed who I am as a person because it allowed me to kind of more so discover as opposed to change. Like discover who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like, and all these masks that probably still I'm currently peeling. I feel like it's like a ongoing onion. Like you're continuing to discard what doesn't work. And for so long, it was an active addiction. It was like this fear of being judged for who I am, what I'm supposed to be, what society says I should be, and realizing that most nobody really has it figured out. Like people are just existing and like living and trying to become or do, and it really gave me like that freedom to explore things like therapy, to like figure out some traumas and stuff like that, and really like it allowed me to more so just like hone in on like, okay, I could stop with the substance because that was what I was running from myself with, like the substance, the drugs, the alcohol. But then life takes over and you're like, okay, it's painful sometimes, it's beautiful sometimes, but you get to learn to sit with whatever it is and not run from it. Because that was a problem. I just wanted to run from any uncomfortable feeling. Even to this day, I still kind of get anxious in social settings, and I'm a performer, and I still get anxious in social settings. I'm like, ugh.
Social settings are the worst for me because it's like I just feel so awkward.
Mhm.
I remember the first time that somebody in sobriety told me, like, oh, you just have to sit in your feelings. And I'm like, why? Why would I want to do that? So does
Right.
this kind of journey inform your music today?
Yeah, definitely. The way that I started writing was being outside of a box of just like, okay, like we have different facets of ourselves and I discover it within the music. That's what came with the name multifaceted. Because I'm like, well, if I'm sad or if I'm angry or if I'm in love or if I'm like heartbroken, I want to be able to write about that without saying or thinking to myself like, oh, I have to stay within this lane of music because this is the image, the mask that I have on for people to, I don't know, I guess follow. But yeah, it definitely allowed me to like write more freely. Where I'm like, okay, like I'm still figuring it out, and that'll be in my lyrics too. Where like there's parts of life that I'm still figuring out. So it definitely changed the way that I write, where it's just more free and there's still some structures you have to kind of stay in line with music in itself, like just like the maybe like chorus, verse, things like that, like the composition of it, but like the writing itself and just the expression. I'm like, yeah, it definitely changed it for the better, I think.
So let me rewind if we could, because I don't know if people don't know you, if they would appreciate where some of those answers came from. So, who was Michael before October 18th, 2023? Not the facts, but who was he?
Angry, lonely, um, social chameleon. Didn't
Where did
really
angry and lonely come from?
feel the life and the traumas and not having like the skills or tools, I guess, necessary to cope with like traumatic experiences. I personalized everything. I'm like, I didn't know how to differentiate. Like, if something bad happens to me or I do something bad, like, okay, I'm a bad person, so I don't deserve to have a good, happy life because either I've made a mistake or something was done to me terribly, so I must have deserved it. I must be going to hell. Like things like that that just kind of sat with me, and I never really like that was just it. I would just drink about those feelings and drink them away, and then they would come back sevenfold after I woke up. But definitely abandonment issues for sure. From a
What was
young
your
age.
upbringing like?
Say again.
What was your upbringing like?
Uh, Definitely had some good times, but there was also some lack of communication as far as like when there was disputes within the family. There was silent treatments as opposed to like or being shouted at or screamed at or discipline. I don't know if they call it abuse nowadays, but it's just like you'll get spanked back then, but now I don't know what nowadays versus what it was. But like I don't think it was abuse. It was like literally like I had done something, so like that was the consequence of the punishment. Um, and I grew up around. I was exposed to some like of gang life, but never really got involved in it. But I definitely had some influence by it. But I think what saved me was I was always a bookworm, kind of a nerdy kid, but I was also athletic too. So I was like able to kind of like mix in with different kids, but learning a lot and like reading like Carl Jung and Friedrich Nietzsche and different philosophers and like Alan Watts and like listening to different people, it really opened my mind to like seeing that there was more to life aside from what I was seeing right in front of me.
Hmm. And was alcohol and drugs kind of normalized in the world you grew up in?
Yeah, like smoking weed was a normal thing. At that time, it was like Molly pills, people popping pills, and cocaine has always been around. But drinking was like a regular thing. Like you were drinking before you were 21. You were just like, hey, that's what everyone else is doing. Like go buy a bottle, bring a bottle to the party, hang out. It definitely, yeah, I'll have this knowledge of reading this different things that I was reading and listening to, but also like the life that I was living, just hanging out with people that were constantly drinking, smoking, and drugging and running around. It definitely influenced me in a way that was where I didn't see anything wrong with alcohol. I thought that was what you were supposed to like. A grown man is supposed to do. Like you're supposed to be able to hold your liquor. That was like the saying,
Honestly, you and I probably grew up in very different places and very different groups, and I had the exact same experience,
right?
which is crazy to me. So, where did you feel like you belonged back then?
No, like honestly, I for a long time I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I had like kind of this inferiority complex where I like or I feel like I'm putting on this mask or a face, or if they get too close, they're gonna find out. So I would do this whole social chameleon thing to try to fit in with the cool kids, to fit in with the gangsters, fit in with the nerds, fit in with whoever I could fit in, like at the time, like whatever room I had to adapt to. But it really, it was exhausting. Number one, to wear all those masks. It's like no one wants to go to a show that lasts 24 hours. Like, be lucky if you get a 30-minute set out of somebody, and that's exhausting. But like to be performing all the time, like in hindsight, I see why it led to me like the only way I could relax was like by drinking or drugging.
And so, at what point did you hit that place where you were like, that's it, it's enough, I'm done?
The final time, like it took a couple tries for sure. It definitely, as it does. Like I've been to rehab 3 times, and the third time it actually stuck. The first 2 times were just kind of like, okay, I'm kind of done, but kind of not. Like I just want to like save face or avoid
Hmm.
consequences so I could go to rehab and get help so they can't like fire me if I'm in rehab. Things like that, or I can't like fail my classes at college if I'm in rehab. It was just an escape the first 2 times, but I did pick up some things from going to like these programs where you're in there for 30, 60, and 90 days. You you tend to pick up, it's like if you hang out in a barbershop, you eventually get a haircut. So I did unwillingly pick up some things and then kept going on about life, but I didn't take the whole recovery thing seriously until all the way up until October 18th of 2023. And mind you, by this point, I had been drinking and drugging like probably since from 15 to like up until that point 3 years ago, or almost 3 years ago, sorry. And I was heartbroken. I was me and my ex girlfriend. Now we were living together, and we were both active in our addiction. And it was just like two people drowning, trying to save each other. And I cared for her, so I at one point reached out to her mother and said, "Hey, like." Because we kind of were both like saving face, like they didn't, her parents didn't know what was going on with both of us struggling, and reached out to her like, "Hey, this is the situation." So she came and got her kid, because I know like Mama Bear is gonna come get their kid. So I was like, part of me, I wanted her to get to like a safe place so she could be okay, and part of me was like, I want to continue to drink without her interfering. So it was like a two ways, and I was just like, okay, and kept on drinking and drinking and just looking around myself, and I got this brief moment of clarity like days later, because by this time, plenty of friends had like sent the police to my house to do a wellness check, like 5150 holds. Before this point, I would drink enough to feel suicidal, then I would feel okay. I would get into the psych ward, and then once I sobered up from being a bookworm and like being that social chameleon, like you know how to like speak well enough so the doctors let you go. You like tell them what they want to hear, type of thing. So just like, oh, I can tell them what they want to hear, and then they would let me out and do the same thing. And October 18th of 23, I finally got called out to one friend who was a part of this 12-step community AA, and she wasn't in town, but another friend that was more local came to get me, and he was like, "Let's go to. I'm gonna take you to Charter, which is a rehab out here in Covina, California." And I was drinking the whole time, but I was packing my bag. Like as I was waiting for them to come, I was still drinking the whole handle of Sky Vodka, just trying to chug as much as I could. But I was packing my bag to go. And because I was like heartbroken because she was gone and it finally hit me. I was also like devastated where I'm like, man, my life's really gonna be over if I don't get it together. I was like, but I can't stop drinking on my own. Like this is just it's not working for me to just don't drink. It's that has not worked. So I reached out to some people for some help, and they came and they took me to the rehab, and ever since those doors closed behind me, I have not looked back. I just hit the ground running. I was like, since I had this small window of desperation where I know like you have that little bit of willingness where you're like, okay, something can change before you start feeling physically better, before you start feeling mentally better. And I ran through that window and I've still been running ever since. I think that's probably why I stay so busy today because I'm probably still running on that.
I'm just relating so much to you. And I know one of the things I also went to treatment. And when the person was recommending to me which treatment center to go to, I said to them, I was like, look, I can talk circles around almost anybody. I need to go somewhere that there's going to be somewhere who can see through that. It's the only way this is going to work. Like I even knew in my darkest days that I could manipulate anybody because I had that same social chameleon thing. I think a lot of us do, where we know how to put on the masks, we know how to say the right words, we know how to do the things, and inside we're quietly dying. But I also know that as a result of having had that survival tool my whole life, once I got sober, like I didn't know who I actually was. I knew how to be, I knew what to say, I knew what got me praise. But I remember there was a very jarring sensation of like, if I choose not to do that, then what's left?
Mm,
Like, what is inside of me? Did you have those experiences?
definitely. There was this emptiness of like, who am I without being able to manipulate? And like you said, like you feel that like, oh yeah, I could talk circles around these people. Like it's not going to be an issue. I could tell them what they need to hear, blah blah blah. But it's like pretending so long, or just and that I guess the knowledge part of like knowing how to is not pretending, but just being able to like put on these personas and these chameleon things you know you don't know. So when you do have to sit with yourself, it's like you've been running, 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 and then it's like, okay, now I'm looking in the mirror because like who am I looking at? And for me, a lot of times it was like, what am I looking at? So I was like, almost sometimes I'm like, are you even a person anymore? Like, have you like so like become so void inside because you've just been pretending that you there's just like nothing there, and I didn't know. I was like, I felt like a shell of a person for a long time after getting sober because I'm like I was always full of liquor or drugs or Adderall, cocaine, whatever it was that can keep me like hyper fixated on what's going on around me, everything externally. And I knew that I had some healing to do, that some soul searching at that point once I realized that emptiness. And I immediately got into therapy because I knew, in addition to like the recovery thing, the 12 steps I believe are good, but also these people are not therapists. So I was always like, okay, like I need a combination of both to start figuring out who I am. And once I got past like putting the drugs down and like looking at it, I'm like, okay, like I have made some bad decisions, but I am not a bad person. Like just for being human, I have inherent value and deserve all of the good things that I can achieve for myself. and all the good that I could do for others. But it took a little bit to get to that like understanding of that because for the longest it was like the shame and guilt of like I am bad, I do not deserve, I'm horrible, I did X, Y, and Z, and it took a lot of healing. And I'm still healing. Like it's a day to day thing. Like I had therapy just this past Sunday. Like it's still a continuous thing of like you have to learn because now I'm navigating life without the substance, and that I have never been sober this long. So this is every day like a new thing of figuring it out.
Well, this is not meant to scare you. This is meant to encourage you. I'm 21 years sober and I'm still figuring it out. But it's a glorious experience. It's for me, um, the example of the onion is trite, but it's also so accurate
Yeah.
that when I uncover a new layer, it's like, oh, cool, look at that. And it might sit with me for 6 months or a year until all of a sudden it's like that layer kind of begins to get a little crumbly and it's like, oh, there's something else in there. Huh,
Mm-hmm.
who knew? But what are some of the things that you have found out about yourself that have surprised you?
I realized that I'm not as angry as I thought I was. A lot of times I was just like, oh, I'm just an angry person. When it was a lot of times it was just sadness underneath because they say you learn in therapy, or at least I've learned in therapy that anger is a secondary emotion. Like it's to shield something else. And I thought I was just like, oh, I'm just angry, I'm angry. And I think as men, we probably go to like anger, label it as anger quicker because it just has more of a masculine characteristic as opposed to like, oh, I'm sad. Like it is difficult for a man to be vulnerable. Like you feel like it's a sign of weakness, and so it's just like, oh, I'm just angry, or I'm mad, or I'm etc. And I realized a lot of it was sadness, or just like feeling abandoned, or feeling lonely, or feeling like all these different emotions. And I was like, it's okay to feel it. And I didn't learn that until like therapy, like not feeling ashamed or like I guess feeling like people are gonna judge, but just kind of like not caring because it's like at the end of the day, like if I bottle this stuff in, it doesn't mean I need to share it with everyone, like everything personal, deep, but like share it with someone, whether it's a therapist or an AA sponsor or a trusted friend, or like if they're in church, like going to their priest or pastor or whatever. But I learned that I was like, I'm not as angry as I thought I was. I think a lot of it was justified of like, okay, this wrong was done, so of course you're gonna feel upset about it, as opposed to just demonizing the emotion of anger. Because I think that's something I used to do as well, like just label any emotion or be judgmental towards myself and others. Where I'm like, oh, they're just fill in the blank, and not knowing half of their story until like I went through my own traumas and stuff with addiction and like drugs and alcohol, and I'm like, damn, this does not discriminate. This could be anyone. So it definitely made me more compassionate and have more empathy towards just towards the human race in general. So I was a lot more guarded. And I think there's part of me that is still guarded just from like not wanting to be hurt because this you continue to evolve and learn. So I'm still guarded in some aspects, but like when it comes to helping people and being willing to like connect people to a service, or like even if I can't sponsor them, just like, hey, I'll take you to this meeting, maybe you can meet some other people. Being more open to kind of like just be a social connector as opposed to like the traditional like sponsor when it comes to recovery, because they say that the way of continuing to give it away is how you keep it. That's what they tell you. But I was like, I don't think I've served as a traditional sponsor, but just like a connector where I'm like, I'll be your friend and like connect you to some people, but I don't know if I necessarily even have the capacity to sponsor you. I'm just being honest with myself in that.
Yeah. What's something that you now enjoy that would have surprised you?
Mm. Rest.
I
Rest.
love that.
Yes. Yes, rest. I absolutely am just like, okay, I need to get to bed by a certain time because when I was running and drugging, I was like so busy, and now I'm still busy without the drugs. So I'm like, rest, like you don't really know. Like the older I've gotten, I'm like, yeah, like I need to stretch. I need to like put aside time.
Hydrate.
Yeah, all these things where our body is this vessel, this vehicle that carries us, and like just taking care of my body, doing things like yoga, sleeping, being able to rest and relax. But just on this spiritual journey, especially yoga, we have a you know my way. We have a yoga teacher that we go to at the it's a botanical garden in the city of Claremont, and they do yoga outdoors. Sarah Sawyer is her name. She's an amazing yoga teacher, and it's just like one of the most peaceful meditative things that I've done. Like my life will go from like chaotic raging on stage to like zen in a botanical garden, just peace, birds chirping, animals, little squirrels and stuff running around you. And you're just like, I absolutely love yoga.
Oh, that makes me so happy to imagine that for you. So I want to ask you a question because you're incredibly open about recovery. Like you could have kept it private. So what made you decide not to?
I remember in recovery when they were like, you're only as sick as your secrets. Like, and I remember that was specifically related to like when you're talking to your sponsor. And another thing that I realized, and I forgot if I got this from like a movie or a friend or something, but whenever like we have like you have these dark secrets or whatever it is, like mistakes of the past, and like usually we're trying to put on this persona of like perfecting, like, oh, cover up the mistakes, put them under the rug. And I'm like, that's stuff that people can use against you, like to embarrass you or humiliate you, and that kind of will change your trajectory. I knew once I started creating that I wanted to freely create and like not be in fear of like mistakes or stuff coming up. Like I'm like, so I just opened up about it where I'm like, I want to take this creative thing as far as I can. So I need to eliminate any obstacles and or as many as I can. And that like fear of embarrassment or shame or humiliation or judgment. They're like, oh, you were a drug addict, you're alcoholic, you went to rehab. Yes. And I'm grateful that I did. Now I can utilize my horrible experiences to hopefully help someone else prevent someone else from having to have such a traumatic experience. They still have to have their own, but it gives me an opportunity to be free of like the weight of like no one could like come around and say, oh, well, you did this, like this is a secret. Like, yeah, I just shared about it on a podcast. Okay. So, cool.
But
Like,
what was more scary for you, the idea of being judged or the idea of actually being fully seen?
yes, fully seen. Like fully seen because like from all the past mishaps and everything, I was just like I identified with my mistakes. I identified in past tense. So I was very like, oh no, like what are they gonna think of me? Like when they find out who I really am or what I've really done. And it's like I will be in a prison, like a mental prison my entire life if I walk through life that way. Cause I'm like, everything that's happened. I was like, I was in active addiction out loud, so why not recover out loud? Because my addiction was out there. I was posting on Facebook. I was texting drunk people, drunks calling and texting, and it was just like mayhem. I was everywhere, all over the place. So I was like, oh, well, if they saw me in this mess, like I guess being in recovery can be worse out loud.
Love that. One of the reasons I wanted you on the show, besides the fact that you're like a fascinating person to me, is because I think that living our recovery out loud needs to have more voices from more walks of life, from more experiences. Have there been moments when you wished in the past that you'd seen more people who look like you talking openly about recovery?
Absolutely. I think that definitely that's one of the things that inspires me too, because I've had people reach out to me that have said the same thing. They were like I haven't seen too many people that look like me in recovery that are like speaking about it because it's kind of like the way I grew up, it was kind of like hush hush, where like therapy wasn't something you do. You just pray more, you go to church, you don't talk about it to other people. Like it was that. So I'm just like, okay, like I have an opportunity to be of service in a way that allows me to connect with people where they see that I'm doing my music career, but also recovering. And it's like, oh, it's possible. Like he went through, and that's why I'm open about it too, because I've had me being open about it has allowed people, to, I guess, to feel comfortable to like reach out to me in a DM, like, hey, I don't know you, but I heard you share about this X, Y, and Z, and I'm kind of struggling with this right here. I'm like, okay, like, well, what area are you in? Let's see if we can connect you to whatever resource. So like, and I've had the pleasure of having those connections and those conversations multiple times. I'm like, yeah, I'm on the right path because this is, and it's rewarding to me too. Like it makes me feel great as well to be able to like, hopefully they take it and run with it and do the whole process. But definitely, if I had more people around me that looked like me that were in recovery, like I don't think I had known anybody until I even got into AA, or at least nobody who has spoken openly about it because the 12-step program is traditionally anonymous. It's always whatever it is, substance followed by the anonymous. So I've definitely my foundation as well is like the 12 step of AA, and like I think I sometimes have ruffled some feathers because I'm on social media with it. So some people I'm just kind of like, well, you cannot follow me. That's an option.
And I wrestled with that too because that was my foundation. For the first 10 years of my recovery, I was very much in that community, and what I've come to appreciate is the power of anonymity for others.
Right.
What I do with my story is my business,
Absolutely.
but I would never break anonymity for somebody else that I saw in those rooms. That's their choice.
Mm-hmm.
So, without breaking anonymity, I'm curious, has there been any one particular conversation that you've had with somebody that's really stuck with you? Can you tell me about that?
Mm. Yeah, there was someone who's actually a huge part of my recovery. They are the ones that I actually reached out to, and I remember when I made that call and was like, "Hey, I'm ready to go." Like I was like, I'm just sick and tired of it. She says, "Well, I'm not in town right now, but like, let me see if somebody else can come get you." But she stayed on the phone with me and just, and mind you, I'm rambling, drunk at this time. So she, I remember it, later on, she had told me, she was like, "You know, when you called me that day, like you were just rambling on drunk, and you were saying, and mind you, this is a little Filipina girl. She was like, you were calling me an N word every other word, and I was just letting you ramble and drunk and like, but she's like, but I never gave up on you because you're like, I knew that you had it in you to do it. And that's one of the beautiful things about AA that I love is like you'll find those people that are like, hey, whenever you're ready, I'm ready to help you. Like I'm not gonna judge you. If you relapse, it is what it is. But I hope you make it back alive. And yeah, she's been like a friend, like a little mother bear. She's been very a blessing to my life for sure.
Mm, I love that. One of the things that at Sober Life Rocks that we're really exploring a lot lately is this question of how do we create spaces where people don't have to earn the feeling of belonging?
Mm.
So not necessarily, like recovery meetings or concerts, but life. Like if you could design a way of gathering from scratch where everybody left feeling deeply connected, what would it feel like?
The way that you put it, where people don't have to earn their way, I feel like that would feel like you'll probably have a lot more people that were like sober and like willing to stay. Because if you feel like, I don't know, I feel like that when people are presented with that, oh, you have to like kind of like earn your seat type of a deal. I feel like when that is presented to you, like that's coming from ego of the people that are already there. It's like this is not like a I don't know like a basketball league or a soccer league or something where it's like oh you got to practice and put on your cleats. It's like no like I don't want to die. I'm coming here to be with other people who have also felt that way and are not going to judge me. They're just like welcome with open arms. I think it's just about being welcoming and putting aside our egos, especially once we get a little bit of time under our belts of have my own experiences with people that have kind of been that way where it's like, oh, you just need to, this is what you need to do. Like you, as opposed to like, hey, just come on, just watch, just see what we do. And if you like it, do it. If not, don't.
So let's elevate this out of the recovery community.
Okay.
And let's just think about just the world that we live in today, because people gather in all kinds of different ways. And yet there's that overlay of having to be a certain way. What would it be like just to be in society in some sort of meaningful gathering where we felt like we were a part of just because we are?
Like that would feel like euphoria, where you can, if you could literally just like walk out of your house and like whoever you see, like just the world at large, like, hey, we are one human race. We are just like like I love you, you love me. We're not necessarily in love, but like just because of your humanity and you being human, like I love you and want what's good for you. That would just, I feel like a lot of problems with addiction will probably be gone, or at least
And
go ahead.
what role do you think music could play in creating that?
Mm. It's like a universal language. Like I feel like conveying that through music, like allowing people to see like I'm vulnerable, you're vulnerable, like you have flaws, I have flaws, and them hearing that from someone just creating, no matter, or just the instrumentation. Sometimes you could hear that through the music, just the music without the words. Like, because like for example, the violin, I feel like is one of the most emotional instruments. But I feel like connecting that through music and just allowing people to just almost like a party, like we explained or described earlier, like when you go to a concert and you're looking for that like release, like just like a world concert, almost is the way I would really picture it, where people are just free living, dancing, enjoying life, like loving one another, as opposed to the judgment and the ego and the we're so separated by different religions, ideologies, race, sexual orientation, all these if people could just be and accept others to let them be as they are, it's like as long as you're not harming other people, obviously, but like just be and accept people like, okay, that's not my belief, but I respect you and love you for your beliefs. Like it doesn't have to be like, if you don't think like me, like that's crazy.
I sing in a choir, and we often talk about how singing together is a very vulnerable thing because you are exposing a part of yourself and relying on each other and leaning into each other. And then when you bring that into a performance space, now you're inviting the audience into that expression of vulnerability and that expression of trust and that expression of connectedness. And I just think that there's something about music that that is a way to lower our guards, that is a way to connect, that is a way to tap into an authenticity that maybe there aren't that many other ways to do.
I can't think of anything comparable to music that will like connect people in that way. I mean, aside from like having dinner together, eating together, or something like that. But not even that. Like, there's typically music playing.
Yeah. So okay, so we're creating this amazing opportunity for people to connect. We talked about the role that music might play. What role would alcohol play in that?
Mm. I feel like that would be for people like me. Definitely, it would be the end of all of that because I mean, alcohol is literally poison. Like if we look at it, it is literally it poison. It,
Ethanol.
yeah, it damages every single organ in your every part of your body that it goes through, and it's not compartmentalized where it's like, oh, just your liver or just your heart. Like it is everything. I feel like it's just one of those things that has no part in my life. Um, I have met some people and I have friends that can drink without ending up on a 5150 hold, and I'm like, I don't try to preach to them because it's not been my experience. But like they could drink, have a wine or whatever it is, and I'll be at social gatherings. I usually have like a mocktail if I do need to have something in my hand. I'll grab like a mocktail, but I don't think for me alcohol doesn't really have a place in it because it's like
Yeah, I think you and I are on the same page. Like I would not choose to drink, but I'm also okay with other people's choices.
Right.
And I think there was a time early in my life when I'm a big foodie, and there was a
Mhm.
time early in my life when the pairing of a really good food with a really good wine enhanced that whole experience. Now, that became a justification system for me later to be like, I'm just having art, right? But for those people for whom that's, their truth, like I, I think that the whole notion of people feeling like they can show up exactly as they are
Mhm.
means that I embrace all of those experiences that other people are having.
Yeah.
So I'm not anti-alcohol, I'm anti me drinking alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
But
can't partake.
yeah. But what would be the one ingredient in this amazing moment that would make people say, I can't believe I got to experience this?
I think it will be like feeling like genuine love. Like just like not in a romantic sense, just like genuine like love for another person. Just like, hey, like I see you, I see your experiences, and I embrace all of that and love you nonetheless. Like I think feeling that because I feel like a lot of times nowadays, like people kind of pride themselves on like being a savage or like being cold hearted or being like this brick wall or stone wall when it's like almost like where love is like demonized or like it's weak. So I feel like genuine, just showing genuine compassion and love to other people is one of those things. It's like, oh, like you always feel good after. Like when you like interact with someone that truly cares about you, you always feel like great after. It's like it recharges you. I feel like as opposed to the dealing with someone where it's just like conflict or headbutting. You're like you leave that situation like I hope I do not look forward to seeing them again.
Hmm.
But with just if you're moving in love and not naivety, but like moving in love, I feel like it's contagious because I feel like it diffuses a lot of unnecessary aggression. Not all, but I feel like moving with compassion and understanding has definitely diffused a lot of some conflicts that I've met. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, back to your to answer is just I think feeling that genuine love.
Yeah. So I ask all these questions because I listen to some of your music and I love it. And I want to know, what are you trying to communicate to people who haven't been able to hear the message other ways?
That it's possible to, for one, it's like you're multifaceted. That's one of the things I'm trying to convey. Like every person is like a diamond with all these different sides. Like if you try to stick to just one side and you ignore all these other sides, they're gonna rust out or get dirty. Like you need to pay attention to the entire human, to your entire person, whatever the feeling is. If it's love, lead like pursue that. If it's like why am I feeling this way, pursue that. Figure out these layers as opposed to trying to put on a persona. And if I always tell people as well, like if AA is not the way that you get sober, some people just went to church and found God, and that's how they and that kept them sober. Some people have just went to treatment or found smart recovery or different things. I always I want to try to convey to people that figure out what works for you. Like if it's just therapy that you need,
There's
maybe
sober coaches out there. There's sober communities out there. There's all kinds of ways. Books. There's Quitlet.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I try to allow people to see like, and I always try to connect myself with other people that are have different walks of life and creatively to let people see that like, okay, I connect with whoever is just human. Like, it doesn't matter their walk of life, their whatever their background is, their religion, their choice of this, as long as it's not harmful to other people, I'm all for it. Like just living and just to be that multifaceted human that we are. Like check all the sides of yourself and express them because if you bottle it up, I feel like it's gonna let itself out some way somehow, and it might not be the most productive or like healthy way. So like do it before it's like shaking a bottle. I'm like, as opposed to shaking a bottle, just like slowly open it and just like let it come out and figure it out.
I love that. We've talked a lot about community and connection and gathering. I remember when I was first facing the notion of getting sober, and I was like, look, if you take that away from me, like you take everything away from me. It's not just the drinking, it's my community, it's my fun, it's my identity, it's my coping mechanism. Like, but I think community is a big piece of it.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to that person who feels like the risk of choosing sobriety could cost them their community?
I would say if you're in a position where you have to even consider like is sobriety something that you should do, the community that you're in or a part of is probably not the best community for you. Like it's probably not the healthiest. And not to say that everybody who drinks is bad or anything like that, but just to say that if you even found yourself like considering the idea or have visited an AA room and like maybe left, like clearly there's something in you that's like, okay, everything is not okay when I drink. Everything is not fine. So let me, instead of returning to that community where they're going to encourage you, like, I promise you, you get sober, you'll be able to find maybe not 100 new friends, but you'll be able to make some solid connections because it'll be people that truly know who you are. Once you're doing the work, you're making these changes and figuring out who you are, like you'll have people that genuinely love you for you and care about you and want to be around you, not like drunk silly you. They'll just know you with flaws and all and still want you around, but you'll never be able to find that genuine community if you're always shielding it with other people who are also probably shielding it with alcohol or drugs or whatever. It's just like if you're one of those problematic drinkers that are drinking because you have these traumas as opposed to drinking to have a good night, then you probably give it a chance and you'll be able to find a community that like truly embraces you. And everyone's not going to be cool, especially if you go to A. I'm not going to lie, but you'll find some people. Just like find the family within the family, and it works out.
That's right. What's next for you? What are you working on? What are you working towards?
Uh, so last night I just had a rehearsal. I'm doing July 11th, the next show, the main stage at the Viper Room in Hollywood.
Nice.
That's a really cool venue, really historic venue, and I'm excited to do that. And then after that, doing a show in Washington, Seattle, Washington, at the Heroines Anonymous convention. That's going to be awesome. And then the next day after that is a Miss Universe Business World pageant that I'm going to be performing at. Yeah, like some friends that I met going to Las Vegas earlier this year. One of them, I went to the Miss World pageant, and so yeah, my it's when I look at it, it's like first I'm at this Heroines Anonymous convention. Now I'm at like a Miss World pageant, like just the expansion. But all of it, I would not be in any of these places or have been in any of these rooms to meet these people had I not gotten sober and allowed myself to become who I am and becoming, because that's what they gravitated towards. They were like, "Oh, like you're performing," but if I would not was not able to show up, it wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been in these rooms. But it definitely, yeah, all these performances have been the next things that are coming up that are really like life changing.
And are you writing any new music?
I am. I was just recording last night. I finished up. I'll be releasing a song. Push the date back to September 4th. It's a song called Resentment, and some of it was about some experiences too, just like whether it was in recovery, post recovery, or like getting sober and dealing within the community as well. But that song features Austin Carlisle. He's the screamer on the song, so I'm blending R&B with the screamo with the rap for this song. So that'll be a beautiful mix. Dylan Janae, my sister, she's also going to be on the song, and that'll be available September 4th on streaming.
Fantastic. So, where's the best place if people did want to connect with you, see more about your music or your concerts, or just connect with you as a person?
Yeah. They can reach me at my website, which is multifacetedmonster.com. The Instagram handle is also at Multifaceted Monster. They could always send me a DM. I'm always open to discussion about whether it's recovery, connecting to resources. I even have listed on my website like a therapist that people can connect to. Um, I'm just kind of like the middleman for that. I don't know like their rates or insurances or anything like that, but just like another resource. But yeah, both of those websites and yeah, at any venue they see me, I usually have my sobriety yearbook is what I call it. It's you know how you have your yearbooks in school. I have this idea to have like a sobriety yearbook where anytime I go somewhere where it's people in recovery or whatever, and like they sign the yearbook, they'll put whatever positive message they want to put in it, and I keep that book. And once it's full, I'll see what I'll do with it. But
Oh, that's
definitely,
amazing.
yeah.
I love that so much. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have?
Um, no, I think we pretty much covered it. It's been a great conversation.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things about this conversation that I feel like it's going to stick with me is that no matter our backgrounds, no matter our upbringings, our circumstances, I think maybe we're all searching for the same thing. And whether we find ourselves standing in a crowd at a concert or gathered around a dinner table or walking into a recovery meeting or reaching for the drink after the hard day, maybe what we're longing for isn't the experience itself. Maybe we're longing for what the experience will give us to to be understood, to exhale, to stop performing, to
Mm,
feel like we belong. And what Michael reminded me today is that recovery isn't just about removing the alcohol, it's about asking the bigger question, like, where do I come most alive? And then having the courage to build a life around that answer. So I'd love to hear from you. Where have you experienced that genuine feeling of belonging or that feeling of coming most alive? And maybe it was through music. Maybe it was around a campfire. Maybe it was, I don't know, around your family table or in a sports field or with a group of friends who just let you be yourself. Share it with us in the comments because one of the things we're trying to do here at Sober Life Rocks itself is build the collection of stories that remind all of us that there are so many different ways to connect, to celebrate, and to belong. And who knows, your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you're looking for a place where you don't have to pretend, we're really glad that you found us. Make sure you subscribe to Sober Life Rocks on whatever platform you're listening to. And remember, it doesn't matter what's in your cup. What matters is finding people who make you feel like you can finally put it down. Michael, thank you.
thank you so much.